Hello everyone. Let me go through a simple example to explain the concept of functions as objects. I'm going to define a function say underscore hi. Within this function definition, I'm going to call the print function to display the string hello along with smiley face. Let me define another function say underscore by. Within this second function definition, I'm going to invoke the print function call to display the string "cu" along with sad smiley face. I'm going to invoke the say underscore hi function twice by typing in say underscore hi open parenthesis close parenthesis. Let me invoke the say underscore by function three times by typing in say underscore by open parenthesis close parenthesis. Since in this example, my functions are functions which print something, it makes sense for me to invoke the functions multiple times. If you're dealing with functions which do something as opposed to printing something, it does not make sense for you to repetitively call the same function with the exact same arguments. Instead, you should be invoking the function once and storing the return value into a variable. Let's step through this code snippet from the beginning. Line number one is defining a say underscore hi function that's going to create a function object instance within the heap space. We are going to draw an arrow from say underscore hi box to that particular function object instance to indicate that say underscore hi is storing a reference to that particular function object instance. The next line of code that will run is line number 4, which is defining say underscore by function, which again will create a new object instance and include an arrow from say underscore by box to that particular new function object instance. Line number 7 is invoking say underscore hi function. How do I know that? We have parenthesis after the function name, so this is a function invocation. Recall that function invocation creates a brand new function called frame. So we are going to create a frame for say underscore hi. Within that function called frame, we are invoking the print function call to display the string hello smiley face. So that will get added to the display output box. The function call execution is done. So you're going to delete this entire function call frame and you'll go back to the next line which comes after this particular function call invocation. That's because we are not doing anything with the return value of this particular function call. So you'll directly move on to the next line of code here. Line number 8 is invoking the say underscore hi function again. That will create a brand new function called frame. Then we are going to display the string hello smiley face. Similarly, line numbers 9, 10, and 11 are going to invoke the say underscore by function by creating corresponding function call frames and displaying the value cu with sad smiley face. Let me update this particular program to include a function object reference copy. I'm going to say f equal to say underscore hi. Observe that this particular line of code is creating a reference copy and not invoking the function. That's because I don't have the parenthesis after the function name. Instead of calling the function as say underscore hi open parenthesis close parenthesis, I'm now going to say f open parenthesis close parenthesis. In line number 10, I'm going to update the value within f to say underscore by. Then I'm going to invoke f three times by mentioning f open parenthesis, close parenthesis. Let's step through this updated version of the program from the beginning. Line number 1 once again creates a function object instance, and we are going to add an arrow from say underscore hi to that particular function object instance. Line number 4 similarly creates a brand new function object instance, and we are going to add an arrow from say underscore by to that particular function object instance. What are we doing in line number 7? We are saying we want to create a reference copy of whatever is being referenced by say underscore hi into f here. So you're going to create f box within the global frame, which is now going to include an arrow to the function object instance for say underscore hi function. That's because we are saying include a reference inside f, whatever is being referenced by say underscore hi. Say underscore hi is referencing this particular function object instance. Then when we execute line number 8, we will be creating a new function called frame. Observe that this particular function called frame has the name as say underscore hi. That's because that is the original name that we defined for the function. When we invoke f open parenthesis close parenthesis, we are simply using the other reference copy to invoke the same function which is being referenced by say underscore hi here. So that's going to display hello. Line number 9 once again is going to invoke the say underscore hi function by creating a new function called frame, and we'll be displaying hello smiley face. Then in line number 10, we are updating the reference stored within the variable f to now point to the function object instance that is depicting say underscore by function. So that's going to change the arrow from the first function object instance to the second function object instance, which is for the say underscore by function here. So now when we execute line number 11, we'll be invoking the say underscore by function. Observe that the function called frame now displays say underscore by, which is the original name of that particular function object instance. So we are going to display cu sad smiley face in line number 11's function invocation, and similarly you're going to get the same output from line number 12 and line number 13 function invocation for f reference here. So we are unnecessarily repeating this particular line of code multiple times. Recall that you can instead use a for loop. So I'm going to replace these f invocations with a for loop which uses the range built-in function call. So I'm simply going to say for I in range of 2 because I want to invoke the say hi function twice. Then I'm going to mention f open parenthesis close parenthesis within this for loop body here. Similarly, I'm going to replace lines 11 to 13 with another for loop which is going to call the range built-in function by passing integer 3 as argument, and I'm going to call the f function within the for loop body here. Observe that we are getting the exact same output as before. Let's generalize this particular concept here. I'm going to define a new function called call underscore n underscore times. This particular function is going to include two parameters. The first parameter is going to be the function reference, which is storing a reference to the object instance that is representing that particular function. I'm going to call that as f. The second parameter is going to be n, which denotes the number of times we want to invoke that particular function reference. So let me cut and paste this particular for loop inside the function definition here. I'm going to tab align line number 15, and I'm going to get rid of all of the lines of code from line number 7 through line number 10. Let's delete these empty spaces. Let me fix the function definition here. Instead of saying for I in range of 3, I'll have to say for I in range of n. My for loop body can remain to be the same because I'm using the variable f as the parameter variable which is going to receive the argument for the function reference. Let me now invoke the call underscore n underscore times function by passing say underscore hi function reference as argument and 2 as the second argument. Similarly, I'm going to invoke call underscore n underscore times by mentioning say underscore by as the first argument and 3 as the second argument. That's going to produce the exact same output as before. Let me step through this particular program. First line is defining a function object instance and including a reference to that particular function object instance inside say underscore hi. The next line of code, which is line number 4, will again create a brand new function object instance and include an arrow to indicate the reference to that particular function object instance inside the variable say underscore by box here. The next line of code is going to define a third function object instance for the call underscore n underscore times function, and we are going to add an arrow from the call underscore n underscore times box to that particular function object instance. In line number 11, we are invoking call underscore n underscore times by passing function reference as the first argument. The first argument is going to be representing the reference to the say underscore hi function. The second argument is going to represent the integer value of 2 here. Observe that we are creating a brand new frame for this particular function call. So f parameter variable is going to reference whatever is being referenced by say underscore hi. Say underscore hi is referencing this particular function object instance. So you're going to draw an arrow from f to that particular function object instance. Since I'm using inline primitives don't nest objects, the integer object instance got written directly within the n variable box. If I were to switch to render all objects on heap Python, that's going to display the integer object instance also as an object. When I click on next, we are going to go through iteration number 1 of the for loop. N has a value of 2, so this for loop is going to run for the iterations of I values of 0 and 1. So we are going to invoke whatever is being referenced by the parameter variable f here. So that's going to be this particular object instance for the function say underscore hi. Observe that that creates a brand new function call frame for say underscore hi, and within that function call frame you're going to display hello. I'll let you go through the remaining steps for this particular example. I'll wrap up this lecture video here. Between now and the lecture video, which follows this particular lecture video, please make sure to download the template notebook file for today's lecture by going to the course website in order to follow along with the remaining demo problems.